The following podcast contains strong language and frank discussions of violence. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning. How are you?
No comment.
No comment. Great start.
Hey, listen, I learned from the last episode. My comment is no comment.
That's true. Look at that. Taking lessons.
Taking notes from the pros.
Learning from murder amongst friends.
I'm all right. I threw my back out, basically.
Great.
So
I did that not too many months ago myself as well.
I recall you were standing still.
Sure was.
And then you went, ah!
That is a direct quote.
And then I said, what the fuck happened to you? And you went, I don't know.
Yeah.
And you just couldn't move.
Couldn't move.
It's not funny because now I can't move.
Yeah. How's that
But
laugh make
it
your back
hurts
feel?
bad.
Oh.
You could not move, and you were walking around here like more like an old man than you usually do.
Yeah.
In your little sandalish and a little house robe and just puttering around. And I felt bad, but I also thought it was adorable. And now I'm like, oh shit, every time I move.
I was finally physically embodying my personality.
Yeah, well, yeah, finally your inside finally shone out.
Yes.
I did it by sleeping.
We are two of the most athletic people you ever want to meet.
I'm wicked in shape.
Yeah.
I woke up yesterday and I rolled out of bed, literally.
Dragged a comb across your head?
I dragged a comb across my head, made a cup.
We
And
won't
then,
do too many more words. We cannot afford that.
Yeah, no, we should stop before we get sued by Sir Paul McCartney. It's a very litigious man. And that was it. And I pretty much couldn't move. Still went to work, though, because, America.
Yep.
And here I am today, just sitting on my couch, not moving, very immobile today. I won't be doing much of anything after this.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. If this is, it's probably worse than what my back was because, women have worse to deal with just constantly.
Carrying a little more weight in the front, if you catch my drift.
That also.
So puts a little more pressure on the back.
But that's a segue into something we did last week. Mm-hmm. We went to go see the movie Men. I don't want to rile Joanne up too much here.
I knew you were going to bring this up, and let me just preface this by saying if I start literally screaming and hollering, my grandfather used to say that, holler, but he was British. He was let me back up. He was English, he wasn't directly from England. He had English ancestors, right. So he would say things like, take the rubbish out, stuff like that. So, and I never knew that as a kid. I never understood like why he used it. Yeah, he would say holler and stuff like different things. But yeah, anyway, the movie. So, ladies, there's finally a movie out there that accurately depicts the tension, the stress, the anxiety, the fear, the anger, the frustration, the sadness, the depression of what women have to go through every day by being constantly assailed by, and don't come at me, gentlemen, men of the planet. It's a barrage of assaults by different types of men. And ladies, if you have social media, you will have encountered one or more of these fellows, let's call them. And I'll be honest with you, listening audience, I was one of those people that was yelling at the screen. Sue me, it happened. We were like 3 people in the crowd, so I didn't give much of a shit for the other people that were there. But, and then I angry cried in the car.
Yeah.
I did not expect to have such a visceral response to this film, but it just brought up so much in me, experiences that I've had and such. And it does not surprise me that most of the negative reviews, if not all of the negative reviews online, are written by Drum roll, please. Men.
would've
Because
guessed?
they are not comfortable with someone holding a mirror up to the worst of their flaws. And I've said it there. Come at me. You know what? Send me an email. I don't give a shit. mafpodcastshow@gmail.com. Gents, if you don't like what I have to say, we can debate that. I don't care. Michael, what was your take on the film?
Less important than what you thought, for very obvious reasons. I won't talk about it too much because this is not a movie podcast.
Right. We should do a movie. We should do 2 podcasts. We should do this and we should do a movie Oh, buddy. Oh, look at the twinkle in your eye, buddy.
Well, I mean,
Michael is the movie guru.
yeah. But from a filmmaking perspective, I love Alex Garland very much as a director.
I was actually surprised that a man was behind the film.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest with you.
Which I've come across a few negative female reviews of it, basically using male feminist as a pejorative to describe him. And why is he
I take
telling
umbrage
this
with
story?
that, but
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just trying to be an ally. Should there have been a female co-writer at least? Probably.
I
And
mean,
who knows if there may have been. It just
it
may
could have
not
been a
met
ghostwriter,
guilt.
and I'm not that mad about it. I am wildly surprised
Yeah.
at the accuracy and the honesty. The honesty most of all of how these guys in the movie are portrayed. And I had a discussion with a colleague of mine where I was describing the movie, and one of the things he said it would be interesting and that he would watch it, but one of the things he said was, yeah, but who wrote it? Assuming it was a woman.
Yeah.
And I was like, joke's on you. A man's behind it. So I really liked the movie in a way. It's also very gory. It doesn't shy away from sort of the grotesque.
Yeah.
But it's obviously a metaphor for the grotesqueries that are going on. But yeah, and I will see it again and probably get just as rip shit. So
Yeah, there is a batch of movies that I really, really like that I call great never agains.
yeah,
Requiem for a Dream is one of those.
love it. Also, at the end of that movie, I had to sit in silence for about 5 minutes. It just rocked me, that movie.
Yeah, Aronofsky is
He's great.
yeah, he's not an easy filmmaker, let's say. But this is definitely something that if you are interested in art depicting life in kind of unexpected but all too recognizable ways, it's definitely worth.
It's not for
seeking
everybody.
out. Correct.
And it's not the easiest movie to get through either.
Yeah.
And it's tough to see something that you are uncomfortable with, whether it's happened to you or you've perpetrated something. It's hard to then face that. And I think that's why a lot of men hate this movie.
Yeah.
Sucks to suck, guys. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Get used to it. Oh, are you mad? Die mad, bro. Because this is our life every goddamn day. Anyway, Michael, I'm now sweating. So
Yeah. So not a true crime documentary, not a movie based
but
on
it is
crime.
an MAF recommends.
Yes, it is something that, if you are in this sphere, you tend to be a little more conscientious of these types of things.
Or if you're just a movie nerd like us.
Yeah. If you want to keep up on all of the Jessie Buckley performances, because she's
amazing too.
fantastic.
And Rory, can we talk about him for one
Rory
just
Kinnear
quick second?
is-
He blew my socks off.
Yeah.
Amazing. I fucking hated him. I hate him to this day, and that just goes to show what a great actor he is.
Yeah.
I literally hated everything he did in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been doing work kind of unheralded for a long time
Amazing actor.
in England. He's really good.
Yeah.
American audiences would probably know him from the first Black Mirror episode, the
Pig fucker. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was him.
I knew I'd seen him somewhere before. His face looked familiar, but
Or anybody watching the newer James Bonds, he plays the chief of staff.
yeah. See, I'm not a huge James Bondy
Yeah.
girl. I mean, if they decide to throw Idris Elba in there, I'll be seeing every fucking movie multiple times, Michael. Alone in my room. Oh, I mean, in the theater. alone.
Well, let's,
Alone in the theater.
yeah, let's not bring you down the Fred Willard or Pee Wee Herman road
Let's
here
not.
just yet, but
Let's not get there.
we'll wait for that casting to
It's too
arrive.
early today to talk about such things, Mako.
Well, transitioning from our recommends here, we have a story for you this week that we actually recorded a little while ago. This is another one of our kind of test episodes, but we're bringing it back because there have been recent updates
Yes.
to the story that happened last month. So right now we're going to set up the story itself, and then we'll come back and I will kind of complete the story and where we're at now. So this is the story of Lieutenant Joseph Gliniewicz.
Blech.
On September 1st, 2015, 52-year-old Lieutenant Charles Joseph Gliniewicz was 1 month from retirement.
I already don't like this.
After a nearly 30-year career on the Fox Lake Police Department, Gliniewicz garnered the name G.I. Joe because of his military service and his mentorship in the Police Explorer program, assisting youth with an interest in law enforcement. Early that Tuesday morning, September 1st, 2015, about 60 miles north of Chicago, police dispatch for the Fox Lake PD received a radio call from Gliniewicz stating that he was in pursuit of 3 men. According to the lieutenant, 2 white and 1 black males were fleeing through an abandoned cement plant. This radio call came through at 7:52 a.m.
Okay.
And by 8:09 a.m., officers responding to serve as backup in the chase discovered the body of G.I. Joe in a marsh nearly 50 yards from his car.
Ooh.
He'd been shot twice, once in his bulletproof vest, once in his upper chest, and he died on the scene. It was reported that the swampy terrain had not been otherwise disturbed, and officers were not able to locate Gliniewicz's .40 caliber semi-automatic handgun for over an hour, despite the weapon being a mere 3 feet from his body.
Okay. How did they miss that? It's a 3-foot perimeter. All right, go ahead.
Other pieces of his equipment, radio, taser, pepper spray, were found strewn about the area.
Okay.
A massive manhunt ensued. A spokesperson for the Lake County Sheriff's Office stated that over 400 police officers and over 45 canine units and numerous aircraft were utilized to search a 2 square mile block around the marsh in an effort to find the 3 reported suspects.
That seems extraneous at best. That's 400 officers, you said?
400 officers.
Excuse me.
45 dogs and numerous aircraft.
What? That's a waste of resources right there. Holy shit. Why don't we divvy that up and let's try to solve some other crimes while we're at it? But okay.
Eventually,
Yeah.
100 investigators worked the case.
What?
Following up leads as they poured in from social media.
This is horse shit, but okay. I wish they would apply this to every missing person, but
This is a fallen officer.
yeah, I get it, but
The next day, September 2nd, 2015, a 30-year-old woman contacted police to report that 3 men, 2 white and 1 black, approached her car as she was pulled over to the side of the road in Volo, Illinois, about 5 miles away from Fox Lake. The woman claimed the men emerged from a cornfield and attempted to steal her car.
okay.
She fled the scene on foot. Investigators descended on the area, setting up roadblocks and searching through the Volo Bog State Natural Area. Search dogs were brought into the bog, but they mistakenly tracked a deer. Whoops.
Okay. How did they make that? What is going on? I'm confused because these dogs are supposed to be. How do they track a deer? All right. Okay.
As the search for suspects continued, a massive tribute was put together for the slain officer. Gliniewicz was laid to rest with full military honors, and the Fox Lake community stood in lines for hours to pay their respects. As the casket was brought to the cemetery, an 18-mile-long procession
Come on.
followed behind, with officers from as far away as New York and California.
Are we gonna find out that he's like
7
creepy like pedo or something, and this is overkill to act like he was like officer of the century?
7 helicopters even swooped in over the burial site in a V formation.
Oh wow.
The town mourned, and the search continued.
Okay.
What happened next?
Yeah. What happened next? I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
The 30-year-old woman who called in the report later admitted to fabricating the entire story and she was arrested and charged with 2 counts of disorderly conduct for falsifying a police report.
How did she get... What did she... Okay, here's my question, though. Did they put out, like, in the media that it was 2 white guys and a black guy, and she just jumped on that just to get... Why would you do that, weirdo?
In May 2017, she was convicted, placed on probation, and ordered to pay $20,000 in restitution.
Okay, as she should for making a false police report, but what was her motive behind this? Is it just fame seeking, or she had a grievance against him, or?
Nope, she was fame seeking.
Okay.
Because they said she called in that report the day after, so that she was helping to look.
Like, do something with your life, please. Get it together.
So he was killed September 1st. Mm-hmm. The investigators concluded in November 2015 that Gliniewicz had been embezzling money for the last 7 years from the Fox Lake Police Explorer program. And he believed that his crimes were about to be exposed and that his death had been a carefully staged suicide. He had also tried to induce a high-ranking gang member to kill village administrator Anne Marin, who was conducting a financial audit of his police
I was going to say
program.
she was looking into him. I knew this fucking guy was dirty. As soon as you said, oh, here's a cop with this decorated career, I was like, I don't like this already. This is going to go left.
Further incidents involving Gliniewicz were also uncovered, including him threatening an emergency dispatcher with a gun, allegations of sexual harassment.
Okay, I was going to say, when do we get to, like, the rapes? Because...
alcohol abuse, and numerous suspensions. Over 6,500 deleted text messages were also recovered.
No.
Detailing some of his criminal activities, including his desire to take out the village administrator.
Wait. He's texting that to people?
Gang members.
Okay, but he knows... Okay, I'm not an officer of the law, okay? Forgive me. But I think everybody and their brother knows that you can delete whatever the fuck you want, but it's still there. It's still accessible. And you would think that he would realize this because he's probably worked on cases where they've had to retrieve information. So why the fuck would you put anything in writing, ever, first of all, ever?
It's not the brightest.
Not Italian, I can tell you that much.
I gave it away.
You don't do anything over the phone. Everything's in person. Whisper it to someone. What are you doing?
Financial statements were also discovered, revealing that he had embezzled a 5-figure sum from the Explorer program and spent it on things such as...
So if you tell me he buys a fucking car, or he come in with a Rolex, or some bullshit.
Vacations.
Okay.
Mortgage payments.
Oh.
You're the best too. Gym memberships.
He can't afford a gym membership. It's like $1 down and like $1 a month for Planet Fitness or some bullshit.
And pornography.
Oh, Jesus. If you say child porn, I'm out of here.
Money from a child's, hey, I'm interested in law enforcement.
Right.
Kind of camp program.
Yeah, and putting it into porn.
Pornography.
Fucking creep.
What do you need money for porn for?
It's free. Hello, Pornhub. This is not a plug because Pornhub is evil, but there's plenty of videos online. Go to OnlyFans.com. It's really a lot cheaper. It's fine.
Investigators also discovered large stockpiles of military surplus gear in his police explorer headquarters.
Boy, I bet he had a whole fucking artillery.
Kevlar helmets, radios, ballistic vests, combat boots, gas masks, and gun belts by the hundreds.
Are you thinking that he's supplying gang members with this stuff? Because one man does not need... You'll never use all that in your entire lifetime, even if you change it like you change your underwear. Like, what's the point? So he's clearly either selling/supplying people to get favors back on the streets. It's rough on them streets, boy.
Such as to take out the village administrator.
Right. Also, the village administrator, is this like the 1600s? Like, let's wander over to ye old village administration office. Okay.
Authorities stated it would have been impossible for Gliniewicz to provide documentation for these items because he'd been obtaining the gear through fraud, and that these surplus items were meant for use by actual police officers, not children.
Yeah, no shit. I'm glad that we're leaving our boys on the streets unprotected so this guy can fucking be a shady ass.
The Fox Lake Police Explorer Post 300 was disbanded following the incident.
Oh, you don't say.
Once news of his betrayal came to light, numerous organizations that had raised or donated money for the Gliniewicz family demanded it be returned.
Yeah. I'd be pissed.
Tributes and memorials were quickly removed, and the largest, which had been constructed in front of the Fox Lake Police Department, was altered with a memorial sign using his name, G.I. Joe, now labeling him as G.I. Joke.
No. That's great. How much money do you think they spend on this? 400 fucking officers,
Yeah.
1 million canine dogs. We've got helicopters in a V formation. Like, Jesus Christ.
I've got some numbers on this.
No.
I do.
Hit me.
Just the first 3 weeks of the investigation cost taxpayers in 50 suburban jurisdictions more than $3
million. I was going to say
$300,000.
Oh, I was going to say 3 million.
But it gets better. To pay local law enforcement personnel working the case. Nearly 2/3 of the cost, $196,351, were related to overtime, including pay for some officers attending Glinowicz's funeral.
Come
on Labor Day.
No, you don't get paid for that shit.
They got paid time and a half because it was on Labor Day.
But why? They're not on duty. You're going to a funeral.
Perhaps.
I don't get paid.
This may have been why it was so well attended.
Yeah, you think? Everybody got paid to be there? Listen, when I die, I'm going to leave $15 in my top drawer. I'll pay you to attend my funeral. That's it. That's all you're getting.
Eh,
I mean,
I can make an appearance for $15.
yeah. You don't have to stay long.
No.
Just, you know what? Just make an appearance,
Yeah.
Mike. You know? Just pop in.
Put in the effort, what I'm getting out of
Just
it.
a pop in.
Yeah.
Quick pop in. Hey, I was here. Yeah. Oh, we're so sad she's gone. Peace out. Oh, I've got things to do because $15 buys about 2 minutes of my time. Jesus.
His name was also removed from the Washington, D.C. based Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund.
Yeah, it should. I'm surprised they didn't erect a fucking golden statue and then have to melt it down.
In January 27th, 2016, so this is 2 months after these revelations come to light, his wife, Glinowicz's wife, Melody, was indicted on 4 counts of dispersing charitable funds without authority and for personal benefit, and 2 counts of money laundering. She pled not guilty, and
He probably made her do it. I mean...
And on February 2nd, 2016, authorities seized 5 bank accounts believed to be derived from embezzled funds. In June 2020, not that long ago,
Right.
a judge ordered the text messages exchanged between Melody and her late husband to be admissible evidence.
Oh, boy.
She's scheduled to go on trial November 2021.
I mean, here's the thing. If your husband has an arsenal of weapons, you might be slightly intimidated to do what he's asking you to do. And now that he's dead, she's left holding the bag. I don't like this. I mean, there could have been collusion. She could have been, like, fully in on it.
Got one more.
Going on spa trips and this, that, and the other. But, like, I don't like that
But
he's
she may
not...
not question where the money came from.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because he was spending it on vacations and gym memberships.
But I mean, you don't. Yeah, but this is what. I mean, I'm not married. I'm divorced. But if you're married, should you not have open access to your partner's finances and be able to access that at any time? Like, there shouldn't be secret money or don't worry where the money comes from kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
One final detail here. His son.
Oh God, how old's the kid?
Unsure.
No, adult though. Or
Yes.
Okay.
Donald,
Okay.
DJ Gliniewicz,
Oh.
was also under investigation after a series of texts were found between Gliniewicz and his son about loans and how he could evade discovery of unidentified expenses.
This is like a family enterprise.
However, the case was closed as investigators could not prove that the son had prior knowledge that the money that his father gave him came
from nefarious. Would he just think his dad was just chucking him fucking like 15 grand at a time, just like, here, buddy, invest this in your life. This'll get you on your feet.
And that is the story of Lieutenant Charles Joseph Gliniewicz.
Fuck that guy.
All right, so
What a piece of shit.
here's the rest of the story.
Okay.
In February of 2022, Melody Gliniewicz, the wife, pleaded guilty to 1 count of deceptive practices, a Class 4 felony.
Okay.
As part of the plea agreement, all other counts against her were dropped, which included money laundering and dispersing charitable funds without authority for personal benefit or use.
Okay, so she was in on it the whole time. Or
Well,
could they nab her for it because her husband's not here? So they were like, well, we'll get her on at least one thing.
we have some quotes.
And what about the son?
Well,
What about the son?
we have some quotes in
Okay.
here. In April of 2022, the judge sentenced her to 24 months of probation.
Okay.
Melody was also given the possibility of 90 days in jail. The judge said that the jail time would only be invoked if she violated the terms of probation.
Right, so just don't fuck around for 2 years.
Right. During the sentencing, Melody said, quote, "I didn't know my husband was commingling the funds, and I never knew the full amount he was commingling until after his death. I want to make it clear, I never took a cent from the Explorer Fund, no matter what's been reported."
Well, how would she know? Well,
Right.
you just said you had these contradictory statements. So I want to make it clear that I didn't know, but I definitely didn't take any of that money. Well, then how the fuck do you know then?
Correct.
Then how do you know? You
Right.
just said you didn't know where the money was coming from.
You
So you
also-
clearly did. Probably without her knowledge,
Yeah, for sure.
but let's not act
But
like
you can't be sure.
you can't be sure that even $1 of that didn't come from this Explorer Fund.
She also pled guilty. She didn't take an Alfred plea,
Right?
which, just in case people don't know, an Alfred plea is saying that the preponderance of the evidence you believe is enough to convict you of the crime,
But you're
so
not
you will plead
admitting
quote
guilt.
unquote guilty, but you are still denying any sort of
Right.
involvement or guilt.
Right. It's just
So she
like,
didn't
you
do
know
that.
you're up Schitt's Creek and you
Right.
want to acknowledge that, but I'm also not going to plead guilty
Right.
because I don't feel like I'm guilty.
Right.
Right.
During the hearing, several witnesses were called on both sides, and prosecutors played a video of a 26-minute interrogation of Melody that was done shortly after her husband's death. She admits during that interrogation that her husband took money from the Youth Explorers program, but insisted those funds were always paid back. This is another quote
What?
from the interrogation video, which was contemporaneous with him shooting himself. Quote, "People want to go, that's embezzling funds. No, not when you pay it back. Every time he borrowed...
Hold on.
Every time he borrowed money..."
No, it's not borrowing.
Hold on.
No, don't. We can't use the word borrow here. I can't go into a bank and demand they give me $1,000 against their will, and then go, "I'm just borrowing it. I'll give it back at some point."
No, that's bank robbery.
That's called theft.
That's embezzling funds. No, not when you pay it back. Every time he borrowed money, he'd let me know, and I'd write it down.
Oh, so you did know that the money was coming from there, but you're just trying to say that it wasn't taken
weird.
because you supposedly paid it back.
Yeah.
Get-
And you wrote it down. So,
Get fucked,
you know.
lady.
Prosecutors called a former district executive with the Boy Scouts of America who also oversaw a different post of the Explorers program in the same kind of city area. He was asked several questions about his interaction with G.I. Joe. He recounted a call he got from Melody in August of 2015 in which she was pleading with him to move the post charter to the American Legion because she thought it was going to be dissolved. Now, this was a very short time before Gliniewicz committed suicide on September 1st,
Oh, wow.
2015.
Yeah, yeah.
And she is calling him desperately in 2015, in August 2015, just a few days, weeks, whatever it was before he kills himself because of this. And she's saying, help us in this way. Help us in this
Right.
way.
So she clearly knew shits was going down. Well, Michael, you know, I was on her side
Yeah.
until that.
Until the evidence came.
Till the evidence came out, and now I'm like, you know what? Just shut the fuck up, bitch. I hope you enjoyed your vacations and clothing and probably home improvements and shit like that. Also, can we just side note the
Also,
Police
don't
Explorer?
forget pornography and movie tickets. They also use the money for.
Well, yeah. Well, who knows if she used it for pornography? But even if she did,
Well, he did.
well, he did.
That's documented.
Little
But
piece of shit. Can we side note this Police Explorer program?
yeah, indoctrinating children.
Do you know how many like rapes, suicides, and murders there are tied to that program alone? Because certain sketchy police officers will take advantage of these young girls that want to be officers of the law And they start fucking around with them. And I don't want to say fucking around with them. They molest and rape them.
There you go.
Some of these girls have actually killed themselves over it. Some of them end up dead. We don't know how. Let me guess. And it's just a rampant with fraud.
Because where do you go when the police are the ones doing it to you?
Exactly right.
What is her recourse?
Well, you know, if you can find them hanging outside of a school somewhere, just dicking off
Yeah, you know.
while kids are getting slaughtered, you know, maybe you could ask one of them.
Yeah.
Because apparently they have all the time in the fucking world. So.
Keep an eye out for, you know, just an hour of them standing around. not
Yeah,
doing
you
much.
know, maybe from like 11:45 to 12:47 or something like that, you know, roughly.
Just as a crazy thing.
Just a crazy time frame to
random
throw out
thing,
there,
yeah.
you know. I just pulled that out of the air, but hey, maybe you'll be able to ask them yourself if you see them just hanging outside of school,
Yeah.
just waiting for, you know, some things to happen.
Whatever,
Yeah, whatever.
This is a quote from that executive from the Boy Scouts of America. Quote, "She begged and pleaded with me to move that charter to the American Legion. That Explorer post meant everything to Joe, and he didn't want to lose it. Basically,
Boo-hoo.
I hate to use the word begging, but pleading to get that done to save the post because she was very afraid. Joe was very afraid that the city was going to dissolve that program. Now,
And what? And so what? You just, so
Exactly.
there goes your cash cow? That's why you're upset?
right.
You don't
This-
give a shit that, like, they're taking this program out of the town and the kids aren't going to benefit from it.
Yeah. Afraid is an interesting
Afraid that they're
use.
going to
Yeah.
start auditing
Right.
and you're going to get screwed.
If this was on the up and up, I believe if they were concerned that the charter was going to be taken away or the program was going to be dissolved or whatever, they would be concerned. They
Concerned,
would
upset,
be, yeah,
you
they
know.
would want to try to save it,
Yeah.
but afraid.
No.
They were both afraid.
And then
makes it
this
seem
coward
like, yeah,
fucking shoots himself before he can actually face the penalties for the crimes that he's committed.
and don't forget he tried to frame just any random group of 2 white and 1 black males.
You have to, of course, he had to throw a black guy in. I mean,
Yeah, of
it wouldn't have been a false report if there wasn't a black guy in there somewhere, right?
Prosecutors also brought in a forensic accountant to show how starting in 2009, tens of thousands of dollars were taken from the Youth Explorer's bank account. But the accountant said that there was never a clear link that Melody had been directly responsible for any of the transactions.
Well, yeah. Obviously.
Right. So you can't say specifically that she did it, but
But come on, dude.
this fact must be why they were
She
comfortable.
knows what her husband gets paid, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So where's the extra money coming from, honey baby doll?
Right.
Yeah.
This fact must be why they were comfortable dropping the other 10 charges in exchange for the guilty plea to the deceptive practices, and must also be why they didn't even charge the son with anything.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure they wanted to rope him in, too, if they could.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
He was definitely benefiting.
Oh, yeah.
He was getting money.
No
but just
doubt that his
did he
dad
know?
was teaching him the ropes.
Yeah. Lake County State's Attorney Eric Reinert said, "This case from now, he's on the right side of this, but this is a little highfalutin for my taste here. This case from 2015 has finally ended with the public learning about Joe and Melody's financial crimes. She said she was guilty, and that public acknowledgement, along with successful monitoring from our felony probation unit, will protect our community and prevent her from financially deceiving others again. We will still have to wait and see if she is fully rehabilitated and whether she can comply with the court's orders. But for today, we know that people understand they cannot misuse charitable funds in Lake County without consequences."
Well, people should know that anyway. And I really doubt she's going to try and go through with another scam after this. I really feel like clearly her husband was the initiator and
Mastermind,
she
yes.
went along with it because A, it was her husband, and B, she was reaping the benefits.
Money, right.
I don't think that she's going to, I don't think she's like a serial
Right.
fraudster.
That's
you
why
know?
I think this is
Yeah.
a little over the top. If they got Gliniewicz,
If she was the mastermind,
Yeah.
she's Lady Macbeth in his ass behind the scenes.
then sure, that statement
Then
holds.
great.
But
Right.
you couldn't prove anything.
You couldn't even link her to it.
Right.
Oh,
So-
maybe she's more Lady Macbeth than we think,
Yeah.
Michael.
But like he's all like, yes.
Yeah. We've
got-
really put the nail in the coffin on that one.
he's
Great
acting,
job, guys. Great job.
He's acting like he's one of the neighbors who took down Richard Ramirez as he was
Yeah.
running through the running through the streets. Like,
Except he's one of the cops that like brought the kids back
Yeah.
when they escaped.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this little Filipino boy is running down the street naked, and here comes this grown man chasing him. Let's put. Oh, he's having a fit. Oh, why don't you go back with this white man who's clearly not related to you, and they're gonna find you hacked to bits. Anyway, bye, because we love doing our job.
so contrary to the state's attorney's kind of forceful declaration here, the judge granted Melody's attorneys, the defense attorney's, request for second chance probation. This basically is that if she satisfies the conditions of the probation, the felony conviction will be cleared from her record. So it's just for kind of these 2 years that she has it on her record.
Right.
She has to go through the probation activities, check in, all of that kind of
It must
stuff.
be nice to just have your crimes automatically wiped from the system.
Well, here's the ultimate irony of this. If she goes through with it and she no longer has a felony conviction on her record, she could potentially be eligible for her husband's pension.
Wait, why didn't they just cancel his pension out
Yeah,
to pay back the funds that he stole?
right.
Why isn't his pension
Why is
then
that
being
even a
donated?
thing?
Why is that? Is that, can they legally, maybe they can't legally do that. I don't know. Maybe they can't.
Yeah, I don't know, because they couldn't charge him.
But even if she can't get it, let's say, wouldn't it go to the son?
Or
Wouldn't
it
wouldn't
just
your
gets
pension go to next
resolved
of
if
kin?
I mean, if they cancel it
I
entirely.
mean, I don't have a pension.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, if they cancel it entirely, it might be just it gets reabsorbed back into the fund.
I wouldn't cancel it entirely. I would donate it back to recoup the funds that
Yeah.
were stolen.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because they couldn't charge him, they can't garnish it technically as
Maybe.
recuperation. I don't know.
Yes. Hey, any lawyers that listen to our show, which there clearly are none, email us, mafpodcastshow@gmail.com, or, slip into our DMs on the old Instagram at MAF Podcast Show. Or Twitter, but who really fucking uses Twitter anymore?
No.
Nah.
And that was up to date, the story of Lieutenant Joseph Gliniewicz and his wife, Melody.
Well, fuck them both, Michael. And with that, Texas, get your shit together. Goodbye. Goodbye, guys.
But also get your shit together.
But also get your fucking shit together and knock it off. Goodbye.